Hello viewers and welcome to part 28 of the Gloose Cut Does Final Fantasy XIV story playthrough as per requested by Twitch viewers. More bad monotalk dialogue incoming. Now where we left off. We just finished saying goodbye to Minfilia, now we have to start tying up some loose ends. Welcome home, Amber. I trust your journey was uneventful? You will be pleased to hear that Thancred has secured the crystals. He sent word a short while ago. Once he has delivered them safely into the Temple Knight's care, he will rejoin us here, and we can declare this matter officially resolved. While awaiting your arrival, I took the opportunity to contact Y'shtola and Kryl and brief them on all that has occurred. I also requested that they return to the Rising Stones at their earliest convenience. Now that our lost friends have been found, it would seem meet to discuss the future.
Back in the Solar! It's been too long since we were all together like this. Not since after Moonbreeder.
Much has changed since then. We ourselves, most of all.
Though not all who were lost could be gathered here today, we may take comfort in the knowledge that those who are not are carrying on the fight.
While I am grateful to our friends in the north for their hospitality, it isn't half good to be back.
But, as Papalima rightly said, much has changed since we last stood here. The Scions of the Seventh Dawn are not as they once were, nor should we be. Our travels in the north brought us into contact with a host of fine and generous people, and their selfless deeds serve to show me that it is not lofty causes that should inform our actions, but our hearts. And I hope that the Scions might continue in this manner, as individuals driven by individual principles. Provided we all sincerely desire to work towards Eorzea's salvation, I believe the paths we follow to achieve it need not, and should not, be dictated by any single ideal.
Companions bound by a common purpose, free to go whither they will. The idea is not without merit. Very well. I shall resume my research of the primals and the elder gods of Eorzea. Should anyone have need of my findings, you need only ask. I should be glad of your continued assistance.
Well, my main purpose in coming here was to see the signs of the Seventh Dawn restored and my dear friend found. Nevertheless, having involved myself in your struggles, I feel compelled to see them through to the bitter end. For Minfilia's sake. That is, if there are no objections.
You will always be welcome here, Kryl.
Urianger, can we trust you to carry on your investigation of the Ascians as before?
Regardless of mine own desires, I am undeserving of your trust, having so villainously deceived you all.
Now, I'll hear no more of that. 'Twould be disrespectful of Minfilia's wishes. She entrusted matters here to us, that we might protect this star and understand the truth which hides at her heart. Mayhap I can handle the former, but I think you far better suited to the latter. No?
Very well. Then out of love for my Lady Minfilia and Moonbreeder both, this shall be my solemn charge.
Papalimo and I should probably return to Thanalan to keep an eye on the Resistance. There's still the matter of the Griffin and the Amalja, not to mention the new Imperial Viceroy. That little lot must be worthy of our attention, right?
And what will you do, Alize?
You know I have no great love for organisations and formalities. That being said, this new approach you propose is not wholly objectionable, and we've always got her to keep us from bickering. But I will suffer no titles. I am not here for House Leveilleur, nor to walk in Grandfather's shadow.
Upon that point we see eye to eye. If it please you, you may think of me as but another comrade in arms.
We sure as aren't going to leave the Scions.
Well then, Alfie, I for my part shall see to the paperwork and the finances with my characteristic aplomb.
I would not have it any other way, Tataru. And we mustn't forget you. What now for the Warrior of Light?
To strive for those we have lost, for those we can yet save.
Indeed.
The path behind us was fraught with hardship, and the path before us will be no less unforgiving. But a new dawn shall break over the realm, and I see before me the faces of those who will deliver it.
Look at them, Amber, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Look how far we've come. The people we've met, the moments we've shared, the losses we've suffered, the tragedies we've overcome. All of it has made us who we are today. Where we go from here and what the future holds, only the 12 know. But I know that we will find out together.
One world's heroes are another world's villains. One world's loss, another world's gain. Where men go as one, there is life. And where there is life,
My friends, if I may, I would ask that you entrust Tupsimati to me. Clouds gather upon the horizon, and as Master Louisoix's disciple, I would keep it close at hand. Thank you. I shall guard it well.
there is cause to hope. For every ending, every parting, marks a new beginning.
Well done, brother. You may resume your normal duties and rejoin the others. The coming battle shall be our greatest yet, and I intend to stand with you all on that glorious day. True believers are so readily led. I have given them everything they desired, all for which they have prayed. I doubt you can say the same for your pawns. Get what you wanted, then? Was it all worth it in the end? There were some unexpected developments, but they were ultimately to our advantage. Be it host to a surfeit of light or dark, a world bereft of equilibrium is but a void in waiting. And a void is of no use to my master. I shall follow her emissary with great interest. As for the pawns whom you so pity, they have delivered unto me a gift which I do now present to you. The eyes of Nidhogg. Many were the candidates considered, but by your deeds you have proven yourself the most deserving. A man of boundless rage and bottomless despair, in whose breast beats a heart which thirsts for vengeance. Only you are fit to wield these eyes, for weal or for woe. So I was here all along. Oh, just you wait, my pretty. You and I are gonna have so much fun. Tidings from Garavenia. Tataru has a request for you. Amber, just the hero I wanted to see. Would you mind doing me a small favor? I need you to meet me at the Diamond Forge. This won't take long, I promise. Uh-oh. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. I'm sorry to drag you away from your duties, but as I said, this won't take long. I just need to stand perfectly still for a few moments. Danger. Right, everyone ready to go to work? No scurrying now. Oh, and you might want to close your eyes. There, all finished. The Warrior of Light's every measurement, from heroic head to intrepid toe. Was that really necessary? Well, wouldn't you like to know? All in good time, Amber. All in good time. She's plotting to take over the world. Aha! Found you! Alphino wants everyone in the Solar for a meeting. I don't know what it's about, but he seemed to think it was very important. Go on, we have everything we need. No sense in keeping everyone waiting. Yeah, I'm not letting that happen again. Bye. Warrior of Light was violated.
We're here! Did we miss anything?
We would not presume to begin without you, Ida. Orianger has returned to the Waking Sands, but everyone else is now present.
Yes, but for what exactly? We all have duties to attend to, Alphino, so you may dispense with the preamble.
Thank you, Elise. It is the very subject of those duties which compelled me to call this gathering. Though the Warriors of Darkness no longer pose a threat, Eorzea's many troubles demand no less of our attention. And while I stand by the decision to approach each task as we see fit, I fear our effectiveness will ultimately be diminished should we continue to act in ignorance of each other's efforts. Thus, I propose we elect a successor to Minfilia. Not to serve as a fully fledged antecedent, perhaps, but as a coordinator of operations.
Is that all? Oh, then the decision seems clear. No one else has shown any enthusiasm for the role, and judging by your performance at our previous meeting, you would seem the perfect candidate. You always did have a flair for politics.
I did not mean to... That was not my intention.
Such devastation.
As my tenure as commander of the Crystal Braves comprehensively demonstrated, I lack the qualities required for such an office. I would much prefer to remain as I am now, a soldier in the field, so to speak.
Should none of our number step forward, must we then constrain some unwilling candidate to take up the position?
Well, based on merit alone, a certain adventurer would be my choice. Though I concede she might struggle to balance her new responsibilities with, let me see, slaying primals, thwarting legatuses, and feeding the orphan poor.
Thancred makes a good point. Any who would wear such a mantle would be bound by its obligations. Have we not become sufficiently familiar with each other's methods to act without an overseer? At present, I see no cause to so willingly limit one of our number.
Oh my goodness! Help! I need some help here!
Tataru, are you all right?
Me? I'm fine! It's this poor girl who just staggered in and collapsed on the floor that I'm worried about.
Narco! God, how did... Yashola! Please, you have to help her!
Kral, a hand if you would. Let us see about closing these wounds.
Now, we've staunched the bleeding, but it may be a while before you can move about again. Though having seen your wounds, I'm surprised you are still moving at all.
Thank you. My message. It was too important to delay. I took the shortest route I could.
though I knew it was more heavily patrolled. As you can see, my efforts at evasion were not entirely successful.
Honestly, you're too brave for your own good. What was so urgent that you needed to fight half the Empire to get here? You could have been killed.
I'm sorry, Ida. I had good reason. But I imagine your friends are wondering who this bloody mess of a Mikote is. My name is Minago, and I belong to the Alamegan resistance. I came to warn Ida and Papalimo about one of our leaders. A man who calls himself the Griffin. He's always been dangerous, but he's planning something new. Something reckless.
The Griffin, you say? I've heard the name. Rumour has it your man is eager to test his claws.
Aye, and on no easy target. He means to assault Belsar's wall from the Alamegan side.
But what does the Griffin possibly hope to gain from such an attack?
From what I understand, he wants the fires of war to spread to Eorzea. And for that, he needs to control the border with Gridania.
So, he means to spark a conflict between the Alliance and the Imperial forces stationed in Alamigo, to have Eorzea's armies aid in the liberation effort, whether they will it or no.
His plan is flawed. Even should the Resistance succeed in occupying the wall, they would not be able to hold it. Imperial reinforcements would drive them out within a week.
Be that as it may, if there is even a chance that this scheme could bring about an escalation in hostilities between Eorzea and the Empire, the Alliance must be informed.
Agreed. I should depart for Limsa forthwith and seek an audience with the Admiral. Thancred, Uldar is yours. Alphino and Alize, make haste to the Twelveswood and notify the Elder Seedseer of the danger to Gridania. She will duly call a council of the Alliance leaders, whom you must be ready to receive. You will be our voice in Ishgard. Explain the situation to Sir Emeric and encourage him to send an envoy. To Taru, Kryl, I leave the care of our injured messenger to you. See that she remains quiescent and her wounds closed. I believe that covers everything. Let us be about our tasks.
I suspect the ill tidings from Girabania will be held as a turning point. The beginning to a bloody end. The business of war was ever conducted with the coin of self-sacrifice. 'Twas Master Louis Soir himself who taught us that such costs are not to be ignored or denied. And so I shall embrace them. When the time comes, I will make my choice, as you will yours.
Greetings, Warrior Light. What business brings you to Ishgard? Shit's going down. I see. Wait here, I will summon Sir Emeric. It is good to see you, my friend. 'Tis putty pity it must be under such circumstances. Had Lucia not informed me of the urgency of your suit, I would certainly have sent for some wine. But to business. I thank you for bringing these developments in Alamigo to our attention. Ishgard will of course send an envoy to attend the council in Gridania. I cannot say who will represent us, however, as the choice is not mine to make. Not mine alone, at any rate. Given the imminence of the threat, we may forgo the formalities of a full assembly, but I will still need to consult my counterpart in the House of Commons prior to proceeding. Will you permit me some time to make the necessary arrangements? I thank you. Our representative, whomever we select, will require a suitable escort. Make your preparations and Enforcer handalope that he is to lead in your absence. Yes, Lord Commander. Amber, pray accompany Lucia to the Gates of Judgment and make ready to depart for Gridania. I will have our envoy join you as soon as I can. Fury speed you on your way. An envoy for Ishgard. Lucia seems eager to set forth for Gridania. If you have no other business in the city, join me at the Gates of Judgment. We must be ready to depart the instant the envoy arrives. We meet again. As it happens, my counterpart in the House of Commons agreed that I should act as Ishgard's envoy. Not, I concede, that there has ever been any real doubt. As Lord Commander of the Temple Knights, it is my duty to sanction any military cooperation. Be that it as may, I could not in good conscience make the decision alone, not with the ink scarce dry in the Republic's Book of Statutes. I trust you understand, my friend. Alas, I must test your patience still further by making a brief stop at camp at Dragonhead. Given the trouble brewing in the Black Shroud, I would see that the garrison is ready to defend the border. Okay. The garrison commander waits within. Why not accompany me, Amber? You may see a familiar face. Oh god, not him. Amber, old girl. I'm gonna kick you in the shins if you call me an old girl again. How wonderful to see you, and Sir Emmerich, too. What do I owe these unexpected pleasures? I will have some mulled wine brought up from the kitchens at once, if you will excuse. Nay, do not trouble yourself, Honoroi. We shall soon be on our way. Lucia, a brief summary, if you will. Yes, Lord Commander. Those villains hardly need an excuse to wage war. Bloodletting comes as naturally as breathing to a to an Imperial. And thus we shall strengthen our patrols as you suggest. We shall also be sure to communicate these developments to Lord Francel and the Observatorium. I see you have everything in hand. Carry on, Commander. Oh my god, he's a commander. Surprised to see yours truly at the helm? Yeah, I'm surprised they will even trust you with a book of matches, to be honest. You and me both, old girl. Shut the hell up with the old girl. I doubt I'll ever feel worthy to sit where he sat. Yet we can but play the hand we're dealt, and with a little help from the veterans and Honorai's ceaseless chiding, I'm sure I'll muddle through, so worry not, old girl. I'm gonna kick you. Off to Gridania with you. Anything to get away from you. Diplomatic duties have brought me here on several occasions, but I find that I am as enraptured by the Black Shroud's beauty now as when I first laid eyes upon it. Yeah, because it's green. I fear that this time, however, events shall not afford us the luxury of enjoying the splendor of the forest. An allied decision. Ceramic is ready to attend the council. It seems we are to have an escort to the Lotus Stand, a pleasant place to discuss unpleasant matters, is it not? Yes, of course. 'Tis like that we are the last to arrive. Let us announce ourselves, shall we? Let me in. The envoy from Ishgard has arrived? Very good. This way if you and the Lominsan party as well. I had hoped to slip in unnoticed, but I see I was not the only one delayed in my arrival. Greetings, Sir Emmerich. Admiral, always a pleasure. And Amber, I trust you are well? 'Tis a day for reunions, it seems. I believe you are well acquainted with my escort. Lady Amber, I was glad to hear from Riol that the missing signs have now been found. There is much and more to discuss with you, but let us first attend to the issue at hand, shall we? Okay. As long as the issue at hand is voiced.
I bid you welcome, my friends. As you will by now be aware, the Scions of the Seventh Dawn have come into possession of certain intelligence concerning recent developments in the region of Gir Abania. It springs, I am assured, from an unimpeachable source. Is that not so, Master Alphino?
Indeed, Elder Seedseer. Our information comes directly from a member of the Resistance's inner circle, and we have no cause to doubt its veracity.
Does not the middle of her necklace look like an upside-down cow?
This griffin of theirs is a fool if he thinks he can hold Belsar's wall against the Empire. When the Imperials move to take it back, they will come in force. And the resulting fighting is all but certain to spill over into the Black Shroud.
At the Battle of Cartano, the combined might of 3 grand companies laboured to contend with the remnants of but a single Imperial legion. Alone, Gridania would be hard-pressed indeed to hold back the tide, should the Garleans turn their minds from reclamation to invasion.
May I once more convey my nation's deepest regrets for our inaction in the days prior to the calamity. 'Tis a stain upon our ledger that I would fain remove. Elder Seedseer, I do hereby request leave to deploy a defensive force within the borders of Gridania. Ishgard's return to the Alliance shall be honored by more than mere ink upon parchment.
The Doman people too would join any effort that weakens our common foe. We are few, but our most seasoned shinobi are at your disposal.
On behalf of my people, I offer you my humble thanks. Gridania welcomes your assistance.
It is time we set our contingency plans in motion. Is the Alliance agreed? Then let us make ready for war. Victory favors the swift, and there is much to be done.
The Council knows that Alamigo will not soon be wrested from the Empire, and its decision to bolster the border's defences seems eminently practical. Why then, brother, do you scowl so?
I agree that they have chosen the wisest course available. Indeed, the only reasonable one. Yet something feels awry. In making ready for war, is the Alliance not granting the Griffin the very thing he desired? Any attempt to hold the wall is doomed to failure, aye. But I wonder if we have misjudged the prize for which he plays.
That the Council was able to reach an accord so swiftly is a heartening development in itself. I only hope my misgivings prove unfounded. Ah, good, you have yet to depart. I feared I had missed you. Sir Emmerich. Master Alphino, a pleasure as always. And Mistress Alize, how wonderful to see you thus recovered. Pardon the interruption, I had hoped to thank Amber for serving as our escort before other duties called her away. I also wish to thank our Doman ally. Forgive me, my lord. I was but awaiting an opportune moment to join the conversation, and force of habit made me keep to the shadows. No apologies are necessary, Mistress Yugiri. I was most grateful for your injection when I offered Ishgard support. My nation's historic failure to heed the Alliance's pleas for aid is a matter of record. Even so, the Alliance leaders were plainly unprepared for my impromptu apology. The resulting air of awkwardness might have lingered longer were it not for your timely offer of cooperation, which allowed the Elder Seedseer to accept us both. I very much appreciate the gesture. I only did my duty, Sir Emmerich. The Empire is an enemy to us all, and we are grateful for the opportunity to fight at your side. And full glad are we to have you. Pray convey my regard to the Scions, my friends. We must return to Ishgard. Whatever is wrong with a simple sorry or thank you? Must these politicians always make a speech out of everything? That is how we adults speak, dear sister. You're not an adult. Mayhap the ones who like the sound of their own voice. In any case, our business here is concluded. We should be on our way as well. Will you accompany us to Revenant's Toll, Yugiri? Actually, I think I shall first pay a brief visit to the East Shroud. I am curious to know how Papalimonida fared in their talks with the Sylphs, not to mention what has been going on at Belser's Wall. I will join you at the Rising Stones anon. Welcome back, Amber. I don't know about you, but I am heartily glad that all the talking is over. I understand that these council meetings are important, but you don't find it tiresome to have it weigh every word before you speak it? I doubt I will ever feel at home in the realm of politics. That said, people have been known to change, and if my brother is willing to run his own errands, anything is possible. Money? Griffin on the wall. Alize seems eager to discuss the council decision with other scions. Well, as much as I enjoy the bustle of the toll, I think it's time we headed inside. My brother and the others will not be long. Ah, you are returned from the council, but what of Alphino? Did some other matter require his attention? Mine apologies, friends. I trust we have not kept you waiting over long? Greetings, everyone. Oh, Kryl! How's Nago doing? She will be alright, won't she? I don't see why not. She's sleeping at the moment. Tataro's keeping an eye on her, so we'll know soon enough if there's any change in her condition. Her wounds are healing well. With sufficient rest, I am certain she will make a full recovery. Thank goodness for that. Now, mayhap you would share with us the Council's decision? Each of the nations, Ishgard included, has committed to providing military support to Gridania. The Eorzean Alliance will soon have significant force in the Black Shroud, ready to respond to any imperial act of aggression. You know, I almost wish the Council would stop messing around and give the Griffin what he wants. I wouldn't like to be the Imperial caught between the Resistance and the Alliance. Yida, you cannot be serious. One does not lightly go to war with the Garlean Empire. Quite. To open hostilities without due consideration would be to invite disaster. Ah, if only there were some way to reach the Griffin. Some means to convince him to abandon this reckless course. It may not be entirely unfeasible. There is a network of tunnels beneath Baelsar's wall, secret passages dug by the Resistance to provide a way out of Alamigo, which may equally serve as a way in. Precisely. If all are in agreement, I would be the one to undertake the necessary negotiations. I am familiar with the route, and the Resistance is familiar with me. About as familiar as they are with me, you mean? Say what you want, I'm coming too. I have some experience in the practice of infiltration. If you would have me, my services are at your disposal. As are mine. It has been far too long since I shared a shadow with a shinobi, and I do not intend to waste the opportunity. 4 is quite sufficient for an infiltration mission. Greater numbers will only serve to increase the risk of detection. Kryl and us will direct our energies elsewhere. What of you, Leviers? I will return to the East Shroud and stand watch over the border. Should matters take a turn for the worse, 'twould seem wise to be on hand. Might I prevail upon you to accompany Amber? Gridania will be safer for your presence, and, while it may not seem the most thrilling duty, dear sister, might I ask that you remain at the Rising Stones to pass on messages and so on? I'm good. To hold the fort, you mean? Very well, I suppose a task must fall to someone. Safe travels, all of you. If you have any unfinished business in the toll, pray attend to it now. I would depart for the Hawthorn Hut without delay. The nearby watchtower offers an unobstructed view of Baelsar's wall, and I should be interested to speak to the Alliance commanders who have installed themselves at its top. Okay. Ah, Amber, there you are. Come, Amarax's spire awaits. The Alliance officers on the platform should be able to apprise of us any developments at the wall. Fancy meeting the two of you here. We were about to set forth. Indeed, I was about to say 12 watch over you, but I doubt you have need of divine protection, even if you are venturing into enemy territory. Don't worry, Alphino. We'll have the griffin by the scruff of the neck before you know it. Do make up your mind, Yida. Nary a moment ago you seemed ready to shake the griffin by the hand rather than the neck. So which is it to be? 'Twill be best to decide before we enter into negotiations. Trust me, Papalimo, I'll shake whatever needs shaking. The talking part I leave to you. I think I feel a headache coming on. Let us be on our way, shall we? Some things never change. Well then, shall we make for the spire? Our Alliance friends will doubtless have news for us. Okay. Welcome, Warrior of Light. I assume you're here to speak with our commanding officers? You will find them on the observation platform. Pray proceed. Greetings, my friends. Just good to see you both well. I was hoping you might turn up. I've dragged half the watch here, see, and the sight of you might help remind them why we bothered. If memory serves, I have not seen many of you since the day of the Grand Melee. Having borne the brunt of your blows, may I say what an honor it is to stand at your side. 'Tis heartening indeed to see the realm's most stalwart defenders thus gathered in common cause. Speaking of which, what news from the wall? All has been quiet. You had to jinx it, right? Report what? 7 hells. Fighting has broken out on top of the wall. A full-scale assault. So the Griffin has made his move. Someone has. And what's that supposed to mean? The attackers, they were wearing Grand Company colors. Impossible, we gave no such order. Of course! The wall was never the Griffin's target, it was bait. We have been goaded into deploying our armies nearby, thus lending weight to this deception. If those uniforms were convincing enough to deceive my scouts, the Empire will surely think we've launched an offensive. This could mean war. Even so, this may yet be more than a diversion. With the armies of the Alliance occupying the Empire's attention, it would be comparatively easy for the Griffin supporters to slip into Alamigo. He could then incite a rebellion amongst the populace which the Imperial Zers would be hard-pressed to contain. Eorzea, meanwhile, would be plunged into chaos. Amber, we must make for the wall at once. Yep. What? Just the two of you? Our companions embarked on a mission to sway the Griffin from his course, and are likely halfway to his command post by now. They will emerge in the midst of a raging battle, and I do not mean to abandon them to their fate. It will be dangerous, aye, but the confusion may work to our advantage. If we are careful to avoid the skirmishing, it may yet be possible to reach the Griffin, and if we can do that... Lady Hilda, might I ask that you have an airship ready to bear the Scions to safety? Huh. I don't know who this Lady Hilda is, Marshal, but you can count on me. We must prepare for Imperial reprisals. May the Navigator guide us through the storm. Forward, comrades, the time has come to drive the Empire from Alamigo and force action upon those who have turned their backs to our suffering for so long. Let this victory be the first step in the liberation of our homeland. Alamigo will be free, no matter the cost. From what Papalimo told me, the trail ahead should lead us into the shadow of the wall. As we have two objectives, I suggest we divide our forces. I shall make straight ways for the tunnels and attempt to intercept our comrades ere they stumble into a bloodbath. While I do so, I must task that you scale the wall. Know that I would not propose such a course if there were any other way, but the time for subtlety is past. Take a band of your most trusted companions and cut a path through to the Griffin. Make him see reason by any means necessary. Okay. Once we are free of the tunnels, we will make for your position with all due haste, and if everything proceeds according to plan, Hilda will then swoop in and spirit us all the way to safety. I only pray that we have enough time. Belsa's war is now acceptable. Accessible. Never been acceptable. Now the first set of paths is pretty straightforward. Sometimes those Magitech flying armors are going to tether and target onto somebody. That means they will focus on them. So try to kill those guys first. When you pull everything to a wall that you can't get by, watch for a key card that are going to drop off the last thing that you kill in the two paths before the first boss. This boss is pretty easy. He's only got a few moves. First, he has a Magitech Claw. That is a tank buster. Next, they are going to bring out 2 adds that tether onto somebody. At the same time, there's going to be a red circle above the head, and that person is going to, or those people are going to be hit by a heavy damage dealing attack. Make sure to kill the tethered mobs first. He also does a line AoE. That's pretty much it. He just does that over and over and over. To start the next part of these ads, use a control panel in the middle, and this will start the lift. The lift goes around and takes various enemies from the conveyor belts. Sometimes there'll be a few parts where the enemies will drop down on you from above. Usually those are far fewer than the ones on the belts. The most annoying trash pull part of this, because you can't just pull, you have to wait. And when you finally, the lift stops in front of a conveyor belt going away from the lift, then that will be the one that you use to get to the next boss. This little spooter is another easy one. Launcher is going to be a arena-wide AoE. Dynamic sensory jammer, as soon as you see that, do not move, do not attack, do not do anything, because if you do anything, you'll be like that Nyan that got blown up. You will take some damage for any movement that you do. They also do the laser, which you just have to move away from if it targets you. Magitech bits are going to create all these bits that are untargetable around the outer edges, and they will do straight lines. You just have to make sure to be in between them so as not to get hit. And later on in the fight, when it's almost dead, it will summon adds under Distress Beacon, and you just have to AoE them down, and that's pretty much all it. Now this first group of ads is pretty basic. Pull them, kill them all, they'll drop a security key and you can move on. The fun begins if you have preferably a spellcaster. If not, a ranged DPS will do. It'll be fun if you have that. Even if you do not limit break, this is still doable if your healer is at least halfway competent. But pull everything. You can pull absolutely everything. Just if you're the tank, make sure to have all of your cooldowns ready as soon as you finish pulling, including arm's length. But you pull all the pats along the way. If you care to stop, there's 2 treasure chests that you can get before you hit the next barrier. And when you pull this group up here, that is when you want to have either your ranged DPS or your magical DPS do the limit break, because it will chunk off quite a bit of HP from those guys. Can I just punt him off? Just like give him a good this is Sparta kick. So this guy has a few mechanics. Very important thing to do going into this fight is you want to make sure to have your either jump to a party member or jump to the enemy on standpoint, because he will eventually zip over to one corner of the arena and do damage to like 95% of it. First one he starts off with is a room-wide AoE attack, followed by Flash Powder. You need to turn away from the boss or he will stun you, and followed up by, hey look, he jumps to one side of the arena and does damage to 95%. That chops you down to about half health if you get hit by it. He also has a Taint Buster. That's Claw of the Griffin. Lion's Head, he's gonna bring all these swords down on the ground. You only have to kill one of them, and then you stand in the area where it was. All of them will do AoE damage, and you kind of don't want to be hit by it. It goes ow. So make sure your team focuses on one, brings it down, and that'll be the area you stand in. At the same time, he's also going to be doing other mechanics, such as that look away because he's going to flash you. Followed again by the Sanguine Blade, so make sure to go over to him. They'll do a Restraining Collar at one point. This will target someone. Half the time I've been doing this dungeon, it tends to be the healer. You're going to want to kill that down to free your comrade. Because then he'll do Sanguine Blade again, but this time you want to go to the second place that he jumps at, because he does a jump to falsify, and then the next jump is where he does it. And that's pretty much all of his moves.
How'd you like these? Yeah! Sloppy. You've beaten me, aye. But you cannot stop what I've begun. Behold! A glimpse of things to come!
We did it! We showed the bastards!
Aye! Victory is ours!
And who knows, lads? Mayhap the Eorzeans will finally see sense when the enemy turns up on their bloody doorstep.
This is for Alamigo, for Eorzea. They die that others may live. Vanguards! Attack!
Seven hells! Do you hear that?
War machines! How did they get here so quickly? Stand your ground! For the resistance!
There's nowhere to run! We're cut off!
Gods help us! What were we thinking? The Empire's too big. Too powerful. Mighty Rhalgr, grant us the strength to crush our...
There you are.
As you can see, our infiltrators did not elude me for long. Lady Ugiri is sending for an airship even as we speak.
What do we do? This is a massacre!
How wonderful to see you, Commander.
Ill-bird. I should have known. This has to end. It has to end now! Do you not see your countrymen dying? Have your ideals rendered you blind even to that? Order the retreat, and we will help your soldiers to safety.
Retreat? With the moment of my triumph so close at hand? You truly are a sheltered child, Leveilleur.
Nidhogg's eyes! No abyss is too deep for you, I see. But trust me when I say that such power was not meant for mortal hands.
How long have I struggled to reach this point? My countrymen, so inured to the taste of defeat, they no longer balk at its bitterness, shouting my throat raw with rallying cries, only to be greeted with dull eyes and blank faces. My brothers and sisters in Ulda have surrendered to their apathy and their appetites. Were it not for the glint of Lodorito's coin, I doubt even those here now would have answered my call. Take back our homeland! Free Alamigo! Ha! They'll happily mouth the words, but they won't spill the blood. You say no mortal should wield these eyes? Then I shall gladly become a demon. I will suckle on the souls of the hopeless and liberate the homeland they no longer deserve.
What exactly do you mean to do?
Did you hear their cries as victory was snatched away from them? Even with their dying breaths, they cursed the Empire. Never has their desire for vengeance been so raw, so true. A god has no need of faith when summoned by so pure a purpose.
Summoned? You cannot mean to fight the Empire with a primal! You know full well the danger, the futility of relying on such power!
Oh yes, I know their limitations. Which is why I will call upon a deity more terrible than the very black worm of the calamity itself.
What? Here? Now?
Like hells you will!
An ending to mark a new beginning. My pain, my longing, you shall have it all! Ah!
This light, is it...
His death completed the ritual. The primal is taking shape.
Well, can't we stop it? There must be something we can do!
There is one thing.
What? Hey! Where do you think you're going?
Master Louisoix briefly contained Bahamut by means of a potent spell of sealing. I will now attempt to do the same.
But that's impossible! We would need hours to collect the necessary ether, if not days!
Ah, Alphino, though I concede it may not always be apparent, I was ever your grandsire's finest pupil.
Timptomati, of course! The staff still holds enormous power, broken or not.
Don't you dare, Papalymo! I know how that spell works! It is time to leave!
Quite right! Quickly now, off you go! The further away the better!
No! If you're staying, then so am I!
No, Ida! There is a path only you can walk, and it must not end here, not like this! Take her! Please, you have to take her!
What? No! Damn it, Thancred! Put me down! Thancred!
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you! Go!
If you stay, he's gonna burst you onto the airship, so I'm just gonna leave.
Hilda! I think he means now!
I bid thee farewell again, my dear Ida. Now, let us see how good a student I truly was.
Why? Why didn't they let me stay? Papolino is my friend. I should have been there with him. You could see it in his eyes, Ida. He knew what he was doing, what had to be done. Master Louisoix wore that same look right before the end. Do you think I don't know that? I know, all right. I know. There's nothing more you could have done. Elbert caught us all off guard. Even Amber was powerless to stop him. If you must blame someone, then blame me. Just promise that you will never forget what Papolino strove to protect or the lessons he tried to teach you. Don't speak to me. Leave Ida with me. Go on. Go back to the Rising Stones. The others need to know what happened here. Louisaux's finest student. It is plain that recent events have shaken Alphino to the core. Once again, I find myself at a loss for words. But Thancred is right. We must return to the Rising Stone as an apprise of our companions of all of this. Pray make your way there at once. I will send word to Y'shtola and the others of our imminent return. 'Twould seem you bring ill tidings, brother. Aye. Behind the griffin's mask we found the grinning face of an old adversary, Ilberd. I know not how, but he had in his possession the eyes of Nidhogg, whose dread power he used to initiate a summoning ritual even as we looked on. By the 12. I don't understand. To attempt such a magic requires every ounce of one's ether. No one, not even grandfather, could cast it and hope to survive. Indeed, it was ever a last resort, as I am certain Papalymo was aware. Thus did the pupil follow in the footsteps of his master, even unto the grave. I have as yet been unable to explain how Ilberd came to possess Nidhogg's eyes. In the depths of the sea clouds, a perpetual storm of water and wind aspected ether rages. No mortal could endure such conditions. Then mayhap it was a work of an Ascian, but now is not the time for idle speculation. Krile, I have need of your assistance. Yes, of course. We must inspect the cocoon of light and ascertain the state of the primal trapped within. Between our respective talents, I dare say we shall glean some measure of insight. Understood. I can't promise I'll be able to sense much through the barrier, but I shall certainly do my best. As shall I. Let us be about it then. What? Without so much as a by your leave? Pray forgive Archon Y'shtola her brevity. She seeketh employment, lest her grief deprive her of the will to act. A desire to comfort Yida doubtless compoundeth her unseemly haste. I, too, must contend with this grievous loss in mine own way. By thy leave, Lady Alisaie, I shall honour our fallen colleague through gainful study. There exist writings which may yet further our understanding of this cocoon of light. Mayhap I was too quick to judge. Surrendering to sadness and regret would be a poor tribute to Papalymo's sacrifice. Quite. We must begin preparations to face Ilberd's accursed creation without delay. What time we have was purchased at too dear a price for us to squander it. The obvious solution. The interminable wait for news from Gridania seems to be taking its toll on Alisaie. Ah, Amber, I wish I had more to tell you, but the situation in the East Shroud remains largely unchanged. Meaning we still have no idea how long it will be before... A communication from the Alliance. One moment. Yes, of course. Our representatives will be present. My thanks. Word from Gridania. The council will shortly be reconvened. The Alliance leaders have already begun to assemble. They wish to discuss the primal, of course. As of Y'shtola's last report, the cocoon yet hung above the wall, unchanged. Yes, but the Elder Seatseer doubtless shares our concerns about how long it will remain so. I am told that Sid Garland has been called in to add his expertise to proceedings. A wise decision. The more minds we have working on this, the better. Well then, I suggest we leave the Rising Stones in Tataru's capable hands and make haste for the Lotus Stand.
A word, if you would, good sir. This place, it is within the realm of Eorzea. You're an odd-looking fellow, aren't you? Still, takes all sorts, I suppose. This here's Vesper Bay. Thanalan's door to the ocean, as some folk like to call it.
Am I to understand from your answer that I have indeed arrived in Eorzea?
Eh? Yes, you're in Eorzea.
Ah! A plain response at last, and the one I wanted at that. My journey was not without its hardships, and I would sooner travel by land than put to sea again. You do not believe that so small a bark could bear me across the ocean? Such timid little sailors. I had but to set my course and set my jaw till I made port. Though, 'twould perhaps have been wise to lay down my oars a moment to sup on more than the spray of brine water. By the trembling of my limbs, I sense a brief repast may be in order. Nay, I will not hearken to the feeble grumblings of an empty belly. Duty comes before all.
Good God, man! Are you all right?
I think you need something to eat.
Thou art far indeed from home, friend.
Let me in.
Dear friends, pray accept my heartfelt thanks for your efforts in defense of Gridania's borders. I would fain dwell longer on my gratitude for the support of the Alliance, but the situation at Belsar's Wall demands that we forego such pleasantries.
According to our most recent intelligence, the cocoon of light that formed in the air above the wall remains undimmed and unbroken. After measuring the cocoon's etheric concentrations, Archon Y'shtola has confirmed the presence of a primal entity.
So we must assume that Ilbert's thrice-damned god is indeed trapped within. And what news of the Imperials? They're not like to ignore such a spectacle.
Sir, a Garlean airship was observed making an approach, but the vessel was destroyed when it drew near. The Empire appears to have made no subsequent attempts to reach the object.
The soldiers who witnessed the incident spoke of a lance of light issuing from within the cocoon, of an entire warship being reduced to smoking ruin in the space of a moment. Veterans of Cartano, meanwhile, likened the destruction to that wrought by the fiery wrath of Bahamut.
We could face another calamity.
So the Primal is awake then? Contained, yes, but for how long? We must destroy it now, lest it break free.
Agreed. There is, however, the small matter of how to get close enough to a being that swats warships from the sky as you would a bothersome gnat.
Is this truly so complex a puzzle? Or have you no stomach for the obvious solution?
What in the hells are you doing here?
A pleasure to see you too, Garland. Now, if you'd be so kind as to explain to these good people why you should be begging me for my assistance, that would be most appreciated.
Who is this man?
Oh, how terrifically rude of me. Nero Tolskeva, former tribunus of the 14th Legion of the Garlean Empire. These days, however, one might say that I'm something of a free agent.
What do you want, Nero?
I was getting to that. Although you already know what I'm about to propose, old friend. As you have rather belatedly realized, within that frail binding lurks an entity alike in strength to the great Bahamut, and the only force in existence which might conceivably contend with such a foe is the very creation which captured the Elder Primal in the first place. I speak, of course, of Omega.
Omega? That hulk has been gathering dust beneath the plains of Cartanau since the Allegans breathed their last. And none alive knows how to wake it.
I'm sorry? Do you understand who it is with whom you have the privilege of speaking? I'm Nero Tolskeva, Master Engineer, the mechanical genius who restored the Ultima weapon to full operational capacity. And as luck would have it, I'm graciously offering you the use of my considerable expertise.
And what, you just expect us to accept? You're a fool if you think your deeds at the Crystal Tower are enough to win my trust, Nero.
Trust? You wound me, Garland. All those years, studying side by side at the Academy, sharing both trial and triumph, we were countrymen once, you and I. But sentiment aside, have you a better solution? Or do you mean to send in your vaunted hero there, as you always do, and pray the world is not engulfed in flame? Let us approach the problem in a rational manner. Does not the fact that Omega slumbers in stasis point to the existence of some overriding technology? A means of control?
I would ask a question, if I may. Nero, was it not? In the event that we succeeded in using Omega to shackle the Primal in the manner you propose, what then would become of it? Do we not risk repeating the mistakes of the Allegans?
Omega is but a tool. How we choose to employ that tool is entirely up to us. Of course, if you would rather leave it buried beneath Cartanau while you continue your petty squabbles above, then I suppose that is also your choice.
Spare us, Nero. The Seedseer's concern is a valid one. He who controls Omega wields the power of the gods, the very power which led the Allegans to destroy themselves.
And does it not fall to we engineers to prevent such misuse? What was your company's proud slogan? Freedom through technology?
A creed you follow, is it?
For his own benefit.
What say you? Do we take this villain at his word?
Why are you asking me? No, but I'll keep an eye on him.
As will I. I don't like it, but then it doesn't look like we have much choice. Would the Council be willing to entrust this matter to a pair of former Imperials?
Yes. The task of restoring the Allagan relic will be yours. But the responsibility for its reawakening must remain with the Council. Do we condone this course of action?
Aye. It would seem we do. Let the record show that we invest this contingent with the authority to enter Carteneau and take command of Omega. Cid, I appoint you leader of the expedition. Scions, I would ask that you assign some few of your number to escort Master Garland and supervise the other one.
We should be happy to oblige. The politics of Carteneau being what they are, I dare say our neutrality will prove useful in avoiding any unnecessary entanglements.
If I am not mistaken, Doma occupies a similarly neutral position. Might we not persuade you to join the expedition, Lady Yugiri? If you suspected any foul play from Nero, you would be welcome to kill him.
My blade is yours.
Not a moment's hesitation, eh? You'll forgive me if I do not shake your hand.
Well, that was a rather unexpected development, and one which raises a number of questions, not least among them how Nero chanced to learn of the council meeting in the first place. The greater obeisance. Alphino is eager to join Cid and the others. Cid and the others are assembling at the airship landing. Alisea is already on her way, and it would not do to lag too far behind. Let us be off. Amber, Alphino, ready to go. The others have stepped out onto the landing for a moment, lest you wonder. Nero insisted that he be allowed to inspect the Excelsior before boarding. And you let him, despite his very timely offer of assistance. The thought of that man poking about in the workings of the ship without proper supervision does not fill me with confidence. Calm yourself, Alphino. Your sister was adamant that he would never leave her sight. She and Yugiri are... well, here they are now. Right, I think that's everyone. Shall I set course for Carteneau? Might I ask that we delay our departure slightly? I require no more than a few hours at most. Our colleagues are studying the cocoon even as we speak, and I would hear their latest observations ere we proceed. It would seem wise to gain as clear an understanding of the situation as possible before formulating our plan. Oh, I thought time was against us. How foolish of me. Hold your tongue. When we want your opinion, we'll ask for it. Forgive me, my lady. I shall keep my counsel until such time as you have finished procrastinating. All right. While Alphonse speaks with his colleagues, I shall fly the Excelsior over to Mordana and we can reconvene at the Rising Stones. Mine apologies for the trouble. I shall visit Y'shtola and the others forthwith and join you as soon as I am able. Amber, pray accompany Alice back to the Rising Stones. I should feel safer knowing you were present to entertain our guest. Babysitting again? Right. Everyone heading to Mordana is welcome to travel aboard the Excelsior. I'll clear things with the girl at the counter here and let her know when you're ready to leave. You're traveling Master Garland, miss? The Enterprise Excelsior is right this way. Not quite a door-to-door service, but I couldn't exactly land her in Toll's main square. Shall we adjourn to the Rising Stones, then?
So these are the fabled headquarters of the Scions. I confess I would have expected an order of self-proclaimed warrior scholars to surround themselves with the fruits of man's enlightenment. And yet there's not so much as a single piece of magitech in sight. It never ceases to amaze me how primitive you Eorzeans truly are.
Oh, I'll have you know that the Rising Stones is home to the very latest in magitech innovation. Wedge calls it the Mark 14 Thermocoil Boil Master, and it's the finest kettle I've ever had the pleasure to own.
We are returned. Well, Ida and I, at least. Y'shtola and the others remained behind to continue their assessment of the binding magic.
There didn't seem much point staying just for that, so I decided to come back with Alphino. Papalimo bought us this time. We shouldn't waste it.
By your leave!
Good gods, that voice could fell a gigas.
This is the Rising Stones, domicile of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. I enter at the invitation of one Lord Urianger. I spy you there, Shadow Walker. You always were a hard one to find.
Yugiri, do you know this man?
Gosetsu! Why are you come to Eorzea?
In search of you, Yugiri. For days and nights did I row across the angry sea. I made port in good spirits, only for my own flesh to betray me over the trifling matter of an empty belly. Collapsed in the street like an unfed stray I was, until Lord Urianger came to my aid. Over a most welcome meal, we spoke of the plight of Doma, and I learned of our displaced countrymen's work to resettle this blighted land. 'Twas blind fortune that I was able to locate you so swiftly. But now we must make ready to depart. Our master languishes in dire peril, and Doma calls her daughter home.
It is not so simple, Gosetsu. There are obligations which bind me here.
You refuse? Did you mislay your oath during your flight from our homeland? The laws of hospitality must be honored, but surely the vow to defend your master demands the greater obeisance.
It was our master who bid me guide our people to safe haven by any means necessary. And it was the scions you see before you who provided us succor and sanctuary when all others refused. Dire peril or no, were I to return without first repaying such hospitality, our master would cut me down at the threshold.
Mayhap that is so.
There is more. A crisis threatens all within this realm, Eorzean and Doman alike, and I go to play my part in its resolution. I will not bring shame upon our liege by abandoning my people or my duty.
How very noble of you. Now, in the name of honor, kinship, and, yes, practicality, might I suggest we get this expedition underway? Or would you rather debate the finer points of duty and leave Omega to the Empire?
The Empire? You, Giddy? You draw steel against the curse of Garlemald? Then why did you not say so? My blade is oath-bound to fall upon the ranks of the Imperials wheresoever they march. Lead on, Shadow Walker, and may the enemy tremble at our coming.
With that loud a voice? Yeah. Amber, wait, can I speak to you for a moment? Do you remember when I had you meet me in the Diamond Forge and we, ambushed you? Well, once we had your measurements, I set to work making you a traveling outfit in my spare time. I've only just this moment finished the stitching, but I wanted you to have it before you left. Here. Thank you, the top I'll use from the glamour for my samurai. You can try it on right now if you like. Assuming we measured correctly, the fit should be just right. Snug, but not too snug, if you know what I mean. So, how does it feel? You're not just saying that, are you? Oh, I can't tell you how much this means to me. To have crafted something worthy of the Warrior of the Light it's... Well, let's just say it makes all the practice worthwhile. I also sewed in a blood pearl charm to, bring you home. May it always protect you. Fly free, my pretty. Ida's eyes shine with rekindled determination. So we have to wake Omega up, right? When do we start? Ida, are you sure that's... I'm sure, yes. I won't lie and say I'm completely fine, but I'll feel a lot better if I'm doing something useful. Very well, I will remain here and continue coordinating our efforts with the Alliance. Alphino, mayhap you could return to Gridani and assist Y'shtola and Kryl? A fine suggestion. The rest of us will form the Cartno Expedition Party. Nir and I will focus on rousing Omega while Amber, Yida, and our Doman friends take care of security. Okay. The Excelsior is by the lake just outside town. We'll leave as soon as everyone is ready. Can I land on top? No, I fly right through. What an airship. We haven't far to go. With any luck, we'll be in Cartno before Gosetsu graces the deck with his dinner. Once there, however, we had best be on our guard. Given that Line Royale was still active when Omega was discovered, we can be sure that the Empire has long been aware of its existence. And if Nero deemed it the obvious solution to the threat posed by the new Primal, it is not impossible that Garlemald might do the same. Have your weapons ready and your wits about you. Something tells me we're flying into a fight. Something tells me you're right.
Now, where was that? Ah! I've enabled the teleporter. One brief jump and we shall arrive in Omega's control room.
How convenient. You've been here before.
Of course. It was no easy task threading a path through all the skirmishes. But how could I ignore the existence of such a fascinating toy? You may trust that my preliminary examination was suitably thorough.
Trust? Aye. I trust your appetite for technology.
I chased down a suspect airship, and who should I find but the traitor, Sid Garland. Searching for something, engineer? Something big? It's close, isn't it? It's like all my name days have come at once.
Of all the scouts the Empire could have sent. Take care of that brute, will you?
God damn it. Can't let Nero tinker around in there by himself. I'm sorry to leave you to it, but I dare say you'll manage without me. This clod has no idea who he's dealing with.
I am Gosetsu, Samurai of Doma. You will rue your choice of opponent this day.
Now, the first part of this fight is pretty straightforward. You just have to avoid some AoEs and lay the smackdown on them. I'll stomp these worms into the dust myself. This is my fight, understand? Stay out of it.
It's all over now. Leave this to me.
'Tis my right to strike.
I may have misjudged the enemy. They should have been staining the soles of my boots by now. What are you folks gawping at? For every yapping cry I strike down, another takes his place. How many soldiers did he bring with him? We will stand against this tide. Surrender? We have you outnumbered. It wouldn't be the first time. Are you still playing with those soldiers? Ugh. I suppose I can lend you one of my toys, but only if you promise to give it back. Behold, the Red Baron. Now end this nonsense. What the? No one told me they'd have Magitech armor. Forward for the Empire. The honorless cur thinks to abandon his men. I shall see that he shares their fate. Pray attend to the rest of his minions. Okay. Okay, now to do the funner part of this battle, we get a nice Magitech armor like we did in Praetorium. However, we get 2 new moves to do. Not only do we have the shoot in a straight line and shoot far away, we also have blow up everything around us and do big damage to a target. Try to save your big damage since it does have a bit of a cooldown. That is your number 4 button, I believe. Save that for the big Magitech things that you need to take down. Other than that, when there's a big group of enemies, that's when you want to use your big boom, and everything else just keep doing your regular shooting since there's practically no cooldown on that. Did you hear that? Whoa, watch out for that big one. Huh. You have felled a Titan, but that still only counts as 1. I will handle these soldiers. Pray dispose of the giant. Well struck. My thanks, Amber.
Look upon a samurai of honor. You watching, Cavalier?
The Colossi scrap and the captain hits us as often as the enemy. Enough, time for a tactical withdrawal. Hey, you can't just run off. Deserting a battle is punishable by death. I order you to stand your ground. Come back here now. Please? This third part is like the first part. Just kill him. Ah, damn it all, this 7th hell. I'll kill you bastards if the last thing I do.
Leave this to me. Says I like to strike. You're moving back. No retreat. No surrender.
You haven't seen the last of me. Mark my words, it'll be you who rues the day.
Temporal stasis disengaged. All systems operational. Garland?
All clear on this side. It's waking up.
Remarkable! Omega sensors immediately detected the presence of the cocoon, even at this distance. They must have been set to scan for sources of energy exceeding certain magnitudes.
I still don't see any means to control the machine directly. It seems to have been designed to act wholly autonomously. Once we release Omega, we can be fairly certain it will attempt to capture the Primal at Belsar's Wall. Assuming its mission is successful, our only option at that point will be to re-engage its stasis system and put it back to sleep.
And should the machine happen to misbehave, we'll simply initiate an emergency shutdown. I confess we don't yet have a complete grasp of its capabilities, but I'm certain the details will not elude us for long.
Well, I understood less than half of that. So, my question to you is, are we doing the right thing?
Is there any other way?
I suppose not. All right. Step aside, Sid. Is this the thing I need to press?
Yes, that's the one.
You gave too much for us to waste this chance, Papalimo. So this is for you. And me.
Yes! Fly free, my pretty! Show us what you can do.
Want to see a machine try to rip a new one in a dragon?
The launch sequence has begun. Omega is loose.
Omega has stopped transmitting. But that shouldn't be. I didn't engage the stasis system.
And what does this signify? I have little understanding of these contrivances.
The launch went exactly to plan, but all signals emanating from Omega have ceased. This may indicate any number of things, but we will need to join the Scions out in the field if we are to ascertain which one.
Right. I've ordered the malfunctioning beast to go to sleep. That should prevent any unfortunate mishaps. I suggest we make our way back to Gridania.
Omega destroyed the cocoon. Papalymo's spell is fading. It was bound to his ether, you see. And if the connection is broken...
I'm not sure why we lost contact with Omega, but I mean to find out. Let's be on our way. One moment everything was functioning perfectly, and the next it wasn't. It makes no sense. We need to see what happened for ourselves, and soon. The far edge of fate. Alphino has the look of a man with much to say. Words can ill express how glad I am to see you unharmed. When Omega came hurtling towards the cocoon, everything dissolved into chaos. I have to see it. I have to see it with my own eyes. Yida, wait, we must... the Elder Seedseer is expecting us. Worry not, Alphino. Gosetsu and I will watch over her. You may safely attend your meeting. My thanks, Yugiri. The council convened a short while ago. Let us make haste for the Lotus Stand. All there are eager to hear your testimony. Let me in. My friends, full eager have we awaited your return. Few indeed could have discharged the duty entrusted to you, and most humbly do we thank you for seeing it done. You are too kind, Elder Seedseer. As I recall, we as good as demanded the right to try, but tell me, how did the battle unfold? We succeeded in waking Omega, aye, but we lost contact with the weapon shortly after it launched. From our position in the control room, we were blind to all that followed. What words could do justice to such a scene? None of my choosing, that much is certain. But I can give you the facts. The cocoon hatched even as Omega arrived, and from its midst rose a great dragon. The pair duly set about each other in the skies over Garabania. The Primal's might defied belief. It seemed the very heavens would be rent asunder by the force of its blows, and it wielded such magics as I have never seen and hope never to see again. The battle raged on with no end in sight until both combatants were engulfed in a blinding flash of light. When the radiance faded, I saw the pair fall motionless from the sky, coming to rest somewhere on Alamegan soil. I will not speak for the rest, but to my eye it seemed that each had landed a fatal blow upon the other. While most among us could think only of Bahamut when looking upon the Primal's form, the Domans were heard to whisper the name Shinryu. It would appear that the being resembles a creature of far eastern legend, and we have found it convenient to refer to it as such. This Shinryu's fate, and indeed that of Omega, is yet unknown. We have, alas, no eyes on the Garabania side of the border. Aye, which is why we have sent our main force under the command of Marshal Tarapun to capture the wall. With the Imperials in disarray, we have the perfect opportunity to secure Gridania's border and assess the aftermath of the impact. I myself will join the Marshal and his men when the council is adjourned. Well, that explains a few things. I'll wager that flash of light coincided with our loss of contact. Lest you wonder, we quickly re-engaged Omega's stasis system, so even if it has fallen into the Empire's lap, it will be of no use to them, save perhaps as a statue. Correct. Without me to guide their efforts, it would take them decades to decipher Omega's core functions, if they managed it at all. Such reassurances do much to calm our fears, yet the relic's fate is but one of several concerns. Indeed, I humbly submit that the time has come for us to make contact with the resistant representatives in Garabania. Though Ilberd has forced our hand, it would seem only logical to seek an alliance given the inevitability of Imperial retaliation. And by working in concert, it is not impossible that Alamigo might finally be wrested from Garlemald's grasp. You must be exhausted. I would ordinarily suggest that we retire directly to the Rising Stones, but I wonder if we might first make a small detour? He's told the others have gathered at Amarix's spire, and I imagine that you too would be interested to see what has become of the wall now that the cocoon is gone. It is decided, then. Lead on. I was never much for stuffy politics anyway.
My friends, I cannot well express how glad I am to see you both unharmed. They say that Omega's clash with the Primal shook the very firmament.
You need not have worried. The battle took place far above the ground. We were able to observe in relative safety, though I'm given to understand that there were casualties on the far side of the wall.
It was like watching a nightmare unfold before our very eyes. Ilberd's Primal manifested in the form of a colossal dragon, a being of pure violence. It burst forth from the cocoon with such terrible force.
That such a horror should spring from the eyes of Nidhogg comes as no surprise. Nor do I wonder at its form. Ilberd all but announced it in the moment prior to his death. Plainly, it was his dying wish to visit a second calamity upon the Empire.
And I am quite certain the abomination would have obliged had it not found itself outmatched by Omega. Gods! I am no stranger to the works of Alag, but even I was unprepared for the machine's furiosity. It beggared belief.
And how fares poor Ida in the midst of all this? Have you spoken with her?
She is up on the platform, lost in thought. We deemed it best not to disturb her, but mayhap she would welcome some company after all. Shall we?
The light's gone. It was all we had left of him.
Ida.
I don't blame anyone. I knew what was going to happen. I knew the spell Papalimo meant to cast would drain away his life force. I knew that it would only buy us a little time.
Ida, there is no need to explain.
But there is. I can't hide in Papalimo's little shadow anymore, and I shouldn't hide behind my sister's mask. 20 years ago, on the day the Empire marched into Alamigo, I was still just a child, not even 5 summers old. My father had been one of the leaders of the revolution. He had fought to overthrow the mad king, Theodoric. And my sister had fought alongside him. But she was strong and kind, and always knew what to do. But when the Garleans came, everything changed. My father went to war against them too, and I never saw him again. After that, I remember a lot of running. My sister dragged me for malms and malms until we came to the city of Charlian. That was where she met Master Louis Soir. He introduced her to the Circle of Knowing, and she eventually became an Archon.
She was your inspiration. Is that not why you took up her mask and her name? Or did you simply mean to continue what she had started?
You've known all along, haven't you, that I wasn't Ida?
Of course. We all recognized you at once. 'Twas Papalimo who persuaded us to maintain the charade.
It was silly to think I could fool you. I knew that even then, but I sort of decided not to know. Ida died 6 years ago, on a mission to smuggle refugees out of Alamigo. They say she was overwhelmed by Imperial soldiers when she stayed behind to save a little girl. She was so strong. There must have been a lot of them.
No. Doesn't matter why she never told.
I'm sorry for lying to you. My real name is Lise. When Papalimo brought me Ida's mask, it was meant as a keepsake, but I decided I wanted to be his new partner, to keep alive all the good that she had done. I didn't want to become Ida, exactly. At the time, though, I still didn't know who I was myself, and it almost seemed easier to play the role. Papalimo agreed to help, of course, but it was never what he wanted for me. He wanted me to walk my own path, and those were his final words to me. The Archon's mark he gave me is faded, and my last excuse along with it. So this is it. Whatever I choose to do from now on, I do as Lise.
and I choose to continue my family's fight. I want Alamigo to be the country that Ida and my father always wanted it to be.
War is upon us once more.
Do you regret standing against the Empire? Would you have chosen a different road, knowing what you know now?
To claim that I never doubted the decision would be a lie. But I made my choice, and I have defended it with blade in hand ever since.
The battle continues, and our steel is needed. Come, Shadow Walker, we leave for the east, for Doma.
It was brave of Lise to remove her mask after so long. Though she has scarce begun to come to terms with Papalimo's loss, that one act made plain her determination to move forward. And should she ever falter, we shall be there to support her on this road she has resolved to walk. Let us return to the Rising Stones. We have quite a story to tell Tataru and my sister.
Children of the land, do you hear echoes of truths that once rang clear? Two souls intertwined, one true love they did find, bringing land and heavens near. But flames that burned full bright soon fell dark. Memories dimmed by shadowed hearts. In the waxing gloom did wane the lover's moon, watching as their worlds drift apart. One soul's cry, a passion welling sacrifice, a final plea to her kin. Yet this bond of hope by treachery was broke, scattering her words to the wind. Swelling over long seas of blood are a song, and death an afterthought to those who fight for none alone. must you turn to empty bliss? Tell me why break trust? Why turn the past to dust? Seeking solace in the abyss. Tell me why create a circle none can break? Why must you let go the life you were bestowed? This I
He may have mentioned, but Alphino has apprised me of all that came to pass in Gridania. Your only task now is to rest. This is the calm before the storm. Lisa's chosen her path, and as her friends, we must do what we can to support that choice. We are fated to join the conflict in any case. Once the Alliance has taken the wall and opened the way to Garabania, we will have little choice but to fight. Which is not to say the cause is unworthy. After all, ignoring the plight of those whom one might conceivably save is not wisdom but indolence, correct? I, for one, look forward to joining hands with the Alamegans and striking a blow against tyranny of the Empire. As I rather suspect, do you? Quick march. The Imperials will soon come to their senses and we must be ready to face their retribution. It is almost time, Father. Aye, almost. Stand firm, Pippin. I learned to brace myself against the charge of the Bull of Alamigo. No foe will assuage me. Very well, Ilbred. I will take our homeland back. For the both of us. My Lord Viceroy, our scouts have confirmed the preliminary reports. Belsar's wall has fallen to the Orzine Alliance. The hunt for Omega and the unknown icon continues, though both yet elude us, my lord. Their battle caused considerable damage across the region. Should we perchance divert some of our forces from the search to undertake necessary reconstruction work? Forgive me, my lord. I did not intend. Your will be done. Unknown? My spies tell me the Domans call it Shinryu, and that it proved a match for Omega. Yes, the coming days promise to be most interesting. Most interesting. At the far edge of fate, the road begins anew. The heroes look to eastern skies and behold their crimson hue. A dawn of liberation, a gathering storm of blood. Thank you for joining me for this installment of my Final Fantasy XIV story playthrough. I hope it was enjoyable, aside from my poor job at voice acting. As always, feel free to give feedback in the comments below or just to say hi. I may not respond, but I do read all my comments. Follow the links to my socials below and drop by Twitch to say hello there too. Tap that sub button if you want to see what I'm up to on YouTube. And as always, thank you for watching. I hope you all take care. See you guys for the next video, which will start off with the beginning of Stormblood expansion. Until then, stay safe and ciao.